Aruna Sharma, the Steel Secretary. She joins us on the phone line right now to really tell us what is going on with the steel sector. Ma'am, such a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedule and joining in. Now, firstly, India is close to acquiring the second spot in terms of steel production. What is it that can we expect from the government in terms of policies, reforms, to be able to clinch the #2 spot?
As far as #2 spot is to be clinched, our capacity today is 126 million tons and we are manufacturing at 80% of the capacity. So in the financial year 17-18, we are expecting to be running to the full capacity of 126 million tons, as well as the new investments are coming. The steps taken by the government in the financial year 16-17 with the ICU kind of arrangement by anti-dumping, and then coming up with the policy of bringing down the input cost and enhancing the domestic consumption, I think this will go a long way as we are moving ahead. And the emphasis on resolving the issues of secondary sector steel producers, which contribute 57% of it, I think that has stabilized the growth path or trajectory on which it is going for the steel sector.
One of the key focuses, ma'am, is to increase steel capacity and the increasing raw material availability as well, which has been a sore point for many producers. How is it that at the ministry you're planning to tackle this?
I don't think so. There is a sore point on the raw material any longer, because coking coal is imported, and already the coking coal, whatever little mines we have in the country, has been put on auction by the coal ministry. Iron ore has been available, but pricing of iron ore fluctuating on and off has been an issue, and that ministry is having a look into it. And the power is expensive in this country. The credit, which has been an NPA of 26%, what you had been discussing before, that already has reached a stage where the bankers and the main producers who had an issue of NPA had their round of discussions, and we are hopeful that the oversight committee of RBI will be sort of resolving it and putting the last stamp on it very soon.
Okay, good to hear that. The concerning point, however, ma'am, in the industry is not really supply but demand, because FY17, as we understand, according to our channel checks, saw very, very meager steel consumption growth. How is it that you're tackling this issue?
You are absolutely right. You know, from 50 kg per capita to 60 kg per capita, we took 7 years, and I think that's a very bad state of affairs. But what is a good sign is that the last year, it has been 5% growth of rate on the domestic consumption. Now, the GFR amendment, which has come in last month, it has made that it is important at the designing level to analyze the life cycle cost. And the moment it is done, steel is a winner. When we are talking of infrastructure by the government or government agencies, which includes all PSUs, it will be a mandatory for them to put into this life cycle cost. And once that starts happening, the demand of steel is going to trigger out. Second thing that is in the offing is the protectionist measure for steel made in India. So that will give a boost for an expansion plan for production of steel in this country, because our USP is a high quality iron ore, and we are also in the growth trajectory of infrastructure development. So definitely there is a scenario with these two policies being in place. I think there will be a huge spurge in the demand of the steel, and a combination of primary and the secondary sector together to make ready to put in, you know, your building designs, your bridge designs, your cement usages being strengthened with the steel, and the precast, which will also enhance the quality measures and offset the trigger to the cement industry as well. I think that is where the future lies in this country.
So that brings me to my next point, ma'am. When will we see the national steel policy see the light of the day?
I think it is already being listed in the cabinet.
Okay.
Now, whichever date it comes through, it should be through.
Okay. Also, we've seen a huge jump in steel exports. Does it seem like it's sustainable because Far East China, which is the dominant most producer of 50% of the global steel demand, and that's now curbing its production as well. And we've already seen what it's done to steel prices globally.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And the measures which we took in anti-dumping, combined with the BIS, that is Bureau of Indian Standards, will completely prevent bad quality steel or dump steel being undercut in prices coming to India. And that has been the reason 16-17 showed a very good result in the steel sector, and the confidence of the steel producers have gone up. Having said that, as far as this China cutting down its production capacities, what they have closed down is their inefficient capacities, which is the right way of doing for any industry. And their own consumption levels are also going up. They export only 10% of their production capacity, which is not small. It goes to 100 million tons. And that is their export. Our exports are sustainable because what we are exporting is a niche product or something which they will be coming out, for which they will get a good price. And Indian steel industry, not only in India, the futuristic markets are going to be South Asia, which is again on infrastructure growth, Africa, which will again be the next phase of infrastructure growth. So the demand in the universe is going to go up. It is only that how effectively we are able to capture that markets. Second, we have to be absolutely ruthless in the quality, and our cost of production has to be very, very efficient.
You know, ma'am, I was just chatting with a whole host of players, both, fundamental experts who track the steel and metal space internationally as well as domestically, and some of the steel companies as well. And they do believe that in the current scenario, consolidation is the way to go. We understand that the ministry itself is pushing for consolidation. What's your take? What's actually on the cards? What's likely to happen?
Consolidation means I'm not very clear what you mean by consolidation. See, there is a space for everybody. The secondary steel sector, are 11 clusters. So within the cluster, they can have their USPs and consolidate. As far as the big players are concerned, including PSU and private sector, each one of them, only the best and the efficient will survive.